Good evening, everyone, and welcome to This Week from Rockdale Special Edition. Decided I'd come on tonight, see if we can get a little audience going, and talk to you about some activities that went on today here in Rockdale County. We had a couple little meetings that we attended. First thing I attended was this morning. We had a little anti-tax rally, and we talked about that last night on the show. That we were going to have a little anti-tax rally, and then we were going to go down to the board of commission and attend the board of commission meeting. Exactly what we did. And then this evening we went to a town hall uh, hosted by Representative Rhonda Taylor of Rockdale County regarding House Bill 741, which is a piece of legislation that would change the form of government that Rockdale County has and take the commissioners from three to five. So we found it very interesting this evening. It was very good meetings from the citizen standpoint, and it was very interesting to see the perspective and takes of some of our elected officials who showed up at these meetings. The board of commission meeting, that was not surprising. We had a couple of other House reps show up at Rhonda Taylor's thing. Doreen Carter showed up, and Angela Moore showed up. Doreen Carter, very rude, nasty lady, just to be honest with you. I went to ask her just a simple question: where do you live? Because I was going to ask Doreen, where do you live, and what type of county representation do you have? She immediately said that, of course, you would be rude, saying I was being rude to her, that I was, And then you had Richard Odom with some sort of nonsense saying he was trying to shut me down when I was asking that question. He was just being an idiot because Richard, he doesn't want the board to be expanded. Still has delusions of someday being chairman again. I like Richard Odom, okay, as a person, but he was no better than Oz Nesbitt as chair. He was just as horrible. The problem that we've had in Rockdale County with this is the fact that we've had these totalitarian type chairmen who just rule iron fisted and did not take the citizens' word or consideration into hand. That Richard Odom wants this old style because he's got delusions of one day being chairman again. Richard, you don't need to be chairman again. You had your term, 2 terms, and you were ineffective as chairman, just as ineffective as Oz Nesbitt. Nothing against you personally, buddy. Just didn't do a good job, and you don't need to go back. Just point blank. Uh, Nothing personal. You were as bad a chairman as Oz Nesbitt, just in a different way. Uh, yeah, you're an all right guy. Don't get me wrong, all right guy. Just I opposed your policies when you were in office too. I mean, um, but the nonsense that you pulled today, grandstanding and trying to show up Rhonda Taylor at her meeting, was deplorable. You were no better. Um, and then Doreen Carter and her grandstanding, and she was attacking Rhonda Taylor for doing a good thing. Rhonda Taylor was having a meeting with her constituents, and Doreen Carter was there talking down and belittling constituents. I don't know if they've got 3 votes to get this as local legislation. What I suggest that they do is pass it as a general bill. Pass it as a general bill and pass it as a referendum. That's what we need to do. Pass it as a general bill. That's what I recommend. So, would anybody like to say who we have out here? And I want you to share, like the show. Why don't we try to build an audience? I'm going to go on my Facebook page here, and I'm going to post that we are doing the show, and would anybody come on? Let me post this. Doing a live show on this week from right now. now. Okay, and we'll see if anybody joins us doing a live show on This Week from Rockdale now. So, so we have a few people on here. Anything in the chat? Did you guys, any of you guys, attend the millage rate hearing today, or did you go to the town hall uh, to discuss the expansion of the board of commission? Um, in a whole pretty good piece of legislation as far as I'm concerned about the expansion of the commission. Pretty good piece of legislation. There's a few things. Hey, Alex, just going to do a little show and talk about the millage rate hearing today, and talk about the town hall that Rhonda Taylor had today. And we had a little surprise visit from Doreen Carter, and she was just nasty today, man. She is a piece of work. She attacked Rhonda Taylor, and then I went to ask her about being. I wanted to know just where do you live. I asked her, Representative Carter, where do you live? And she said, well, of course you would be rude and disrespectful. I mean, how was it going to be rude and I wanted to know where she lived, uh, and just ask her, what form of county government do you have? She went nuts. And then there were some people in the room. It was very interesting. So there was a gentleman that was sitting a couple seats down from her. He stood up, started talking. And then he said, actually, I didn't think the question that the gentleman asked you was out of line at all. And he didn't understand her response. So it was crazy. And you're right, Alex, the gaslighting today was totally ridiculous. And then, and then I liked it when they started that about that misleading information stuff. And the video, that video is as bad as the other little video that George Lopez produced, right? So this video that she gets on there and says, that we've got to, advertise it because the state sees it as a tax increase. Well, they do more than see. I mean, it is a tax increase. If your taxes, let's just give an example, were $1,200 last year and they're $1,201 this year, that's a tax increase. If the amount you pay goes up from one year to the next, that's a tax increase. And then they said, what was it? It says your taxes increased because your property values increased. That's ridiculous. Your taxes increase if they do increase because the Board of Commission sets a millage rate. The millage rate is nothing more than a multiplier. They set the multiplier at a rate that it increases the taxes when you put it up against your property value. So it's not because your property values increase. It's because they set the multiplier that way. That's the reality of it. And just with today, the chairman and all that nonsense, about he started that stuff again about misleading information, people not knowing what they're talking about. And, several people got up there and said they understood what the millage rate was. They understood what the host was. They understood what all these things were. And I'm gonna tell you, a lot more people understand what these things are than the chairman wants to believe they do, because it doesn't fall into his narrative of the misinformation. I agree with the chairman. There is totally a lot of misinformation going on, and the misinformation is actually coming from the Board of Commission themselves. They're the ones that are doing the gaslighting. They're the ones that are providing the misleading and misinformation to the citizens of Rockdale County so that they can highlight an agenda. Um, Interesting point today. So, yes, Alex, we're only a few of us here, but I'll put that up there. That's because the chairman is rather unsophisticated and assumes others are also. Now, you are correct. Um, so, but it was just crazy today. I mean, it was really crazy. And so we had the little rally down there at 9:54 before we went up to Main Street. And there were, There were 20 some people there, whatever. It's a rally. Nice. It was a decent little crowd. But I told people before the rally, you're not going to have a lot of people show up. And it's not that people don't care about taxes being raised. They actually do care about taxes being raised. You don't talk to anybody in Rockdale County that they don't complain and say, it's just out of control. It's ridiculous. We need change. We need this to happen. We need that to happen. Well, I think in May of 24, they're going to have an opportunity to actually back that up. Uh, uh, I think that in May of 24, we're going to see a difference. I think we're going to see people go to the ballot box and they're going to vote against these incumbents. There is an anti incumbent sentiment out there in the community. It's in the country, actually. Uh, um, for example, the Georgia Republican Party had their convention in June, and you had what would you would suppose to have been very popular individuals that were within the state party, and they got defeated. Not one single person who held office or had previously held office was elected to a statewide position in the Republican Party this past year. And it's because people are just they're tired of incumbents and what they consider the establishment. Uh, so I think we are going to have an anti-establishment, anti-incumbent election this coming primary session, and that will bode not good for Commissioner Washington, um, because as of right now, with Commissioner Washington in the race, there are 5 people challenging. So that makes a total of 6 individuals right now that will be vying for that post one position. That's a lot of people running for post one, and the odds against that incumbent, uh, even being one of those top 2, I'd say is very little, especially as unpopular and as much negative press that Washington has received over the last couple of years. So I would say we're definitely going to see a change in that post one, and we just got to make sure that it's an individual that aligns more with the vision of the county. But it's just like today, I told them at the millage rate that those commissioners sit up there behind that podium, and they always talk about what their vision for Rockdale County is. And someone was talking to me the other day, and they actually told me that they were sick and tired of hearing this commission and these commissioners say that this is their vision, because they brought it to my attention, and I mentioned it today that they weren't elected to bring their vision to Rockdale County. They were elected to represent the vision of the citizens of Rockdale County. And I know that's a foreign concept to these 3 elected officials, but that's reality. They were actually elected to find out the vision of the citizens of Rockdale County and carry out the will of the people. That's actually what representative government is truly about. But these 3 individuals, they don't get that. They don't get that at all. And it's a shame, but that's part of the reality of it, that they don't get it. But I found it very interesting today, as I think around a dozen people spoke at the millage rate hearing today, and not one person got up this year and spoke in favor of their taxes being increased. And usually we do at least have one person that gets up and says that. But this year, we did not have one single individual stand up there and say that they were glad that they were getting a tax increase. And that's truthful, because I don't think you're going to find anybody that lives in Rockdale County that's very excited about these tax increases. And in fact, the Georgia legislature, there are some legislators that are actually looking at this problem that we have with the property values and all these municipalities jumping on board and raising all these taxes. they're actually beginning to see this as a problem statewide. And there are some legislators who have said they were going to introduce legislation to actually limit the amount that entities can raise taxes. So I mean, so we're getting to see there's starting to be some pushback because there's some legislators starting to feel the heat over this, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing because I think there's enough people talking about it. There's enough awareness of it that people are starting to realize that these inflated property values and these entities, these board of commissions, these board of educations, and these municipalities are just taking advantage of a situation because somebody mentioned it today, and it was actually in the article that I read that the Georgia state legislators had said the only time actually property increases benefit anybody if somebody's going to sell their home, and that's the minority of homeowners. The majority of people are not intending on selling their homes, so they don't benefit from increased values. It's only a very small few who decide they want to sell their homes who benefit from increased property values. The rest of the individuals actually are punished. They're penalized by the government municipalities that penalize them and tax them because of supposed property increases, and those aren't real increases. They're fake. They don't really exist. They only exist on paper, and it's a shame that we're going through these things as a citizens of Georgia and of Rockdale County and all the other counties. Um, today the chairman during the meeting mentioned about two counties that have a host. There's only one county that actually has a host now, and that's Rockdale County. DeKalb County did away with their host back in 2016, and they implemented an e-host. And what the e-host is, when they did it, it point blank said, we will give you 100% of these funds back, so that uh, uh, 100% of these funds back to go against your tax bill. Rockdale County is still siphoning off whatever they can, 20, 25, 30, whatever it is at the time. So Rockdale County is actually the only county with a true host. DeKalb converted theirs to an economic host back in 2016, so their citizens can get 100% of the benefits of the e-host. And all the, and it's a tax we put on ourselves to help reduce our tax bill because we prepay it. And it's ridiculous. This Board of Commission still acts like it's something they are giving us when in reality it's something we gave ourselves. It's something we gave ourselves, but they're able to siphon off of it. That's the reality of what the host is. We gave it to ourselves anticipating that 100% of the monies was going to go toward tax relief. In reality, what's happened is the county has begun siphoning the dollars away and taking it to themselves. And we never hear anything about the overage, the overtax, the overcollection of the host. Just like there's an overcollection of the splost, there's an overcollection of the host also, but we never hear where this overage goes. Where does the overage go? Who gets the overage? I'll tell you who gets the overage. The county gets the overages, and they put it into the budget. So I really didn't pay attention. I don't know what they say the budget's going to be this year, but we already know they said they're going to collect $101 million in taxes. So I'd say the budget's going to be $101 million. So it's whatever they collect is what they're going to spend. That's the budget. So they didn't do these guys are crazy. So this Board of Commission is ridiculous. They're out of control. It was a very interesting day today. I enjoyed today. Today was the first day in a long time. I did a bunch of political stuff. I enjoyed the day, and let me tell you what, I participated today as an independent. And I told many people all day long today, I'm not a Republican, I'm an independent. I'm not a Republican, I'm an independent. And it was like, what? I said, I'm an independent. I'm not a Republican. And I actually I found that freeing today. I found it enjoyable to say, and I meant it. I'm not a representative of either party, and I'm not um, going to get myself aligned to any party affiliation. I like being an independent. I like to have that independent voice that I had today, and I'm going to keep that independent voice because it's who I am, and it allows me to be free to say what I want, do what I want, and make the decisions that I want because I'm not restricted by any bylaws of a party. Uh, I'm, I'm the only restrictions made me my own conviction. Well, guys, thank you for indulging me today. The Rockdale Voter Web, it's still there. You know, Ken and I have been very busy with work. Ken and I's job, I mean, our companies have just exploded this past year. Um, and we have been so busy, and we are actually going to do some updates on the Rockdale Voter. We're actually today we announced at the town hall that the Rockdale Voter is going to have a town hall concerning the 741 legislation to expand the commission. So stay tuned for that. I'll announce that on this show, and I'll let people know when that update happens on the Rockdale Voter. So the Rockdale Voter is getting ready to become active again. We're going to do some things out there in the community, and we're going to enjoy that. Again, I enjoyed today. I enjoyed few of you coming on here with me. Thank you for indulging me. I'm sure some people will watch this played back, but thanks, guys. I enjoyed it, and look for me in the future to do more of these promptu shows. Just stay a little more active. And when things go on in the community, I'll come on and report about it. I'll try to do a little bit a better job of promoting it and let people know I'm going to come on. But I just decided, just to come on here this evening and share a little bit with you. And I look forward to this coming Sunday when we get on here and we'll have a larger audience and we'll talk about a lot of different things. Thanks everybody, and I will see you guys Sunday, 8 p.m. this week from Rockdale.